Picture this, in a London bar, I suggest to my friend, a very successful trader, that he needs a quantum computer. And he nearly chokes on his beer mid-sip, shocked that these are actually available today. So I just say to him, look for yourself. So this is the animation that presents all the deployments that were announced this year. So you can see the first entry is the date announced. Then it's the hardware provider that's going to provide the on-premise quantum computer. Then it's the product name. There are different various product lines. We'll get into that in a second. And then it's the buyer, the company that buys it. And the map shows where the quantum computer is going to be deployed, the country of the deployment. So we are right now at July, and it's going to go to the end of the year because we had even announcements December 2024. So it's almost 30 announcements only this year. And it just shows the proliferation of this new market, which is the quantum computing on-premise. So I'm Michael Baczyk, Director at Global Quantum Intelligence, and we are the leading market and business intelligence provider, 100% focused on quantum tech, and it's my pleasure to walk you through the analysis of this new arising market. So my presentation will be in three parts. The first part, we will see why there is such a proliferation of quantum computing on-premise deployments and what are the patterns that are emerging globally in that space. The second part is an obvious question: who is buying and who is selling, and why all the parties are deciding to participate in that market. And the last part is the long-term perspective for the market. So is the trend going to be down? Is the trend going to be up? What are the challenges and opportunities in that particular field? So what you see on that screen here is the number of announced deployments by year. So the bars are the number of announced deployments in a particular year, and the dots joined by a line is a cumulative number over the year. So we see two periods here. One from 2016 to 2022, where we have 3 to 5, sometimes even 0 deployments announced every year. And then there is this huge change, huge inflection point on the graph, with 2023 scoring 20 announcements and 2024 almost 30, and we are not done with the year, so maybe there will be more even. So I would like to get deeper into this and provide some explanation for these trends. So the first trend is due to some pioneers in that space, the single companies that decided to basically create the market from scratch. One of the first was D-Wave, which announced different collaborations with Lockheed Martin, NASA, Air Force Research Laboratory, and they were the first ones to ship quantum computing on premise. What's interesting is now in their financial filings, they are backing back from that strategy, and they will be no longer delivering the machine to the clients. They are focusing on the quantum computing as a service via cloud model. Then we have IBM, and IBM announced their first IBM Quantum System 1 to be placed outside of the New York headquarters, to be placed at Fraunhofer Gesellschaft in Germany. Then they also announced a partnership with University of Tokyo, and back in the US with Cleveland Clinic, 10-year partnership. So these are very strategic long-term partnerships, and we saw some of the results from them yesterday in the talk. Then we have IonQ, which actually 4 years ago here at Q2B announced one of their first roadmaps, not as detailed as today's ones, but the goal of the roadmap was to create really rack-mountable systems that then can be deployed to customers, and they were successful with that. Last week, the Quantum Basel celebrated opening of IonQ Forte machine in Switzerland at their facility. Then we have Rigetti, who was chosen to lead the consortium in the UK, supported both by the government in industry and driven by UKRI, United Kingdom Research and Innovation. And they were also one of the pioneers in the field. And last but not least, we have IQM, who decided to put their whole commercial strategy on that, and they still want to make quantum computing on-premise deployments for labs, for universities, and for bigger players, their main revenue driver. So this is the first period. What's about the second one? Our analysis at GQI suggests that it's because of the growth of the different support programs from the public sector. And one of the very good examples is Euro-HPC, joint undertaking. And this actually started in 2022 when they announced the call for proposals, first from different supercomputing centers to host quantum computers on site. It was in early 2022. Then they chose 6 different countries, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, the Czech Republic, and Poland. And then each of the centers separately issued a call for tenders from vendors, different qubit modalities, different machines of different sizes and capabilities. And so all of these was sort of delayed from 22, where really the program was created, and it was $100 million program. But yeah, it continued to spike the quantum on-premise deployments announcements in 2023 and 2024. And now we see some of these are actually being already on site in these supercomputing centers. So these are just some examples, but we have the data on every single deployment in the world. And what we see, we differentiate between 3 different deployment models. And this is full purchase, partnerships, and research grants. And research grants was almost non-existent in this first period from 2016 to 2022. It was at 7%. But then it's almost 30%. So it's almost third of all the deployments in terms of the number of deployments, not the money that's associated with it. So what we see on the global scale, we have in total 64 distributions, and the total global spending is almost $1.5 billion. So as you can see, the map is quite diversified. There is a global spread. We have United States, and then we have Europe. Actually, Germany is all very close behind United States, and Europe as a whole is definitely leading in the number of deployments due to, especially these programs such as Euro-HPC. Then Japan and Southeast Asia, with also South Korea and Taiwan, are entering the game. And we also have some movement in Middle East and Australia as well. So I have one more number on this slide, which is the median price point. And I decided to present the median price point because the market is very diversified. So you can buy a QPU starting from $500,000 up to $1 million, but it's only the quantum processing unit without all the control and the environmental control as well needed to make it running. Then we have in the range of millions, we have the tens of millions, we have full deployments of quantum computers, including control and so on. And then up to half a billion, we have the whole facilities, including the building, the infrastructure, and so on. So it's very diversified, but the median price point is around $12 million. So it's hard not to comment on the latest announcement from Atom Computing and Microsoft. So in November 2024, so last month, they said they are going to, they are taking orders for the machines to be delivered on premise, and these machines, we are no longer talking about physical qubits, but we are talking about logical qubits. So it's actually the continuation of many of the error correction impressive demonstrations that we've seen this year and actually even this week. And yeah, the question is, yeah, will logical qubits become the next trend, and will the offering from the hardware providers change to adjust to the technological progress in terms of the qubits quality? So that was the first part about patterns and trends, and now we are going to see who are the sellers and buyers. So on this slide, you can see on the left different qubit and quantum computing modalities, and on the right you can, so this is the vendor side, and on the right you can see the application area from the buyer side. So there are a few things that we spot. So the first one is that all qubit modalities are there, which is very good. We have all the groups represented. Of course, superconducting being the being one of the first ones to enter the more mature stage, and also with the biggest players that I showed on the trend slide. It takes the biggest share of the pie, but all of the others are also there. And then from the buyer side, it's not surprising probably for many of you, research and development application area is the main area right now. But what's interesting is that we have also very few but very strategic buys from the defense and government side, and I will get back to it in next slides. So what hardware is currently being offered? So it's very beneficial for the quantum computing provider to do such a shipment, because it's a very good revenue injection, as we saw with the numbers on the previous slides. But yeah, what comes with it? It's not only the money inflow, but there are also responsibilities coming from it and some challenges. So let's look at first the error reduction capabilities of these machines. So 75% offer no error reduction capabilities whatsoever, and I'm not talking here only about error correction, but there is also error suppression and error mitigation. And 75% machines come as raw, so it's on the user side to implement those. So there might be some challenges and feedback from the users that these machines are not performing that well as the hardware vendor promised, and that's because there is error reduction implemented. Then we have the maintenance models. So almost 90% cases, it's on the vendor side, the responsibility, and this is huge responsibility. So it's good money injection, but then almost all vendors decide to provide maintenance for these machines, which can be very time-consuming, and you need a few full-time employees to do the deployment, and then the employees often stay there on the site of the client to do some maintenance in the first month of the QPU being functional. Then we have the infrastructure integration model. So almost half are like standalone machines. They are not integrated to anything, but 33% are HPC connected, and 25% are like full hybrid systems. And these are usually because of bigger players such as IBM that have extensive experience also in the classical computing and supercomputing space. And last but not least, what does the vendor deliver? So we distinguish between the full system and QPU only. So as I said, yeah, it's very diversified market, and some companies like Quantware like Rigetti, they are only providing QPU. They suggest for you some partners that you can buy the fridges and other control electronics and other elements from, but they are not delivering the full system, although the vast majority is full system. Regarding the capabilities of these machines, the median qubit count is 32, so these are quite small machines for the moment, which is, yeah, as we saw before, they are mainly dedicated to research and development, education, so that is the reason. So now we look at the buyers a little bit more. So the 6 groups that you see, R&D Federal, HPC Data Center, R&D Academia, Defense Military, R&D Commercial and Industrial and Enterprise, are the groups that we distinguish from the buyer side, and we look how they want to buy the quantum computer for their on-premise use. So the first groups are quite diversified, but what I want to highlight to you is the defense and military and industrial and enterprise. And when these players decide to think about quantum computing on-premise, they want the full purchase and full ownership. There's no other way around it, but for the others, it's pretty diversified. And then the main question is why? Why to buy a quantum computer today? There are a few reasons. The first one is data security. So if you are developing a new drug, let's say, you have very sensitive data, but not only, you have also very sensitive algorithm that you might be using, and you don't want to send this algorithm, neither the data, to the cloud. And then some countries have some restrictions where you can send the data to. So if you are not in a country that has very good access, you might want to buy one for yourself. Then there's the availability. So some companies do not want to spend a long time in waiting in queues to run their jobs. They want to do very rapid pace innovation and trial and error. So that might be an issue. And also we see high volume usage players which want to have 24/7 jobs running, and many of them simultaneously. So these players also decide to buy a quantum computer. So to summarize all of this regarding buyers and players, it's not an easy choice, and technology is only one of the factors. So you can see qubit performance. We have our quantum hardware stack at GQI. We analyze all hardware providers worldwide, but here we only summarize it to 3 different groups. This is the technical part. But then we have the things like lead times, which can be 1.5 years, even to 3 years, and some of the announced deployments are going to start only in 2028, so in 4 years. So it's a long time. Then there is maintenance, which I talked about, infrastructure requirements. We go higher up, we have the interoperability and dual use case considerations. Then we have the IP consideration, the lifetime of the machine. Are there going to be any upgrades? And then last but not least, what's the political situation? Can we export the machine to our site? That's the questions that users ask us. And we provide a comprehensive overview of different vendors. This is anonymized data. And yeah, with that framework, we can provide recommendations which hardware providers might be better to go with. So that's my last slide. So what's ahead of the quantum computing on-premise market? What's the challenge? I would say the main challenge is performance. So will the on-premise machines be able to cope with the rapid progress of innovation? We saw Heron R2 processor from IBM. They managed to complete the challenge they set for themselves, a 100 by 100 challenge. And yeah, without rapid possibility to upgrade on-site machines, this is a very big challenge. Then there's opportunity. So the quantum computing on-premise market stimulates the whole value chain. Then this is something we look at GQI very carefully also. So all the providers of the lasers, control, cryogenics, and so on, they have some revenue injection as well. But we also have new players like system integrators, track we will see in the panel here. Some companies are looking into how to integrate into HPC centers. So there is a whole new bunch of startups arising around this. And this might be a solution to the value of death problem. Long-term perspective, in quantum, we have blind quantum computing, which actually secures both algorithm and data. And you can run it in the cloud. We still need much more mature hardware to be able to run blind quantum computing. But maybe quantum computing on-premise market will not be needed in the perspective of 10 years at all. So you can download the presentation here, and these are the clients that we answer the questions for. Thank you.